Hi everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Read with Miss Kurre. So today we are going to be reading in Act 5, Scene 5 of Macbeth. So in this scene, Macbeth is in his castle preparing for the siege from the English army with Malcolm and Macduff and Seward, who is the general of the English troops. So he's just sort of chilling in his castle, and he's like feeling super confident that everyone can withstand the siege and they're all gonna live, no one's gonna die, and things are gonna be great. For him to lose, he has to have Birnam Wood move to Dunsinane Castle, which is his castle. He's like, the woods don't walk. And plus, whoever's going to attack and beat him has to not be born of a woman. So he's like, those two things are impossible, so I'm gonna survive. So that's where we start. So Scene 5 of Act 5. Macbeth is saying, "Hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still they come. Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie, till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them daredful, beard to beard, and beat them backward home." So Macbeth is saying, our castle is strong enough to withstand the siege, and we'll just be comfy and cozy in here, and while waiting for them to attack us, they're gonna die outside of getting sick or starvation and hunger. So all is well. And he says that if people hadn't betrayed them, he would have been able to meet them on the battlefield and totally destroy the enemy. But their numbers are a little low because, everyone's like, wow, Macbeth, you're kind of a murderous tyrant. We want to go side with England now. Peace out, bye. So, that all said, he's kind of confident. But then he hears a cry of women within. What is that noise? Satan, his advisor, says, "It is the cry of women, my good lord," and he leaves. Macbeth responds back, "I have almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and fell of my hair would at dismal treaties rouse and stir as life were in it. I have supped full with horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once start me." So he's like, well, people are screaming, but it doesn't really bother me anymore. He's seen and done so many terrible things that nothing frightens him. It would have in the past, but not anymore. He has slaughterous thoughts, so he's like, my mind's a pretty dark and scary place, so anything else that happens can't really compare to what's going on in my own mind, so not worried. And then Satan returns and he says, "The queen, my lord, is dead." And here's Macbeth's response. "She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then it is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." So this is a pretty famous soliloquy. I know I say that a lot, but there are a lot of really famous soliloquies in Shakespeare, in Macbeth. So this is just one of them. Fun fact, in high school, I actually had to remember this and recite it for my class. That being said, Macbeth, when he hears that his wife is dead, kind of loses all hope, and he's really sad and he's affected by it. And he says that she should have died hereafter, meaning she should have died in the future. Now is not the time for her to die. And he says that there would have been time for death, and there would have been a future, but now there isn't, because he feels like he's done all of this stuff to become king, for power, for money, for fame, and he's now lost his wife, and he's lost all of his friends, so he's kind of lonely. And we know that up until this point, he'd been kind of freaking out about all the time, so he even lost his peace of mind. He says tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. So basically, time will not stand still. It keeps on moving forward at this slow glacial pace, and it just sort of drags on to the last syllable of recorded time. And that all of our yesterdays, so the past, have lighted fools the way to dusty death. So he says time's just going to keep on moving on until we die. So it's a little bit of a depressing outlook on life. He then says, out, out, brief candle. And he's comparing life to that of a candle, which candles, they glow, and then after a few hours, they burn out. So he's saying our lives are pretty short. They're here, they last only a few hours, and it only takes one breath to blow out a candle. So they're easily extinguished. And he thinks life is the same way. He then continues to compare life to that of a play. So people appear on stage, walk around for an hour or so, talk about life, complain about life, and then the play is over and they're never heard from again. And he feels the same way about his own life. He's here, he's doing things, and then one day he's going to be gone. So the whole point of it is really our lives are short and meaningless. The last line of this soliloquy literally is signifying nothing. So life means nothing, and the line itself is very, very short, which tells us, again, life means nothing. So the words itself and the way that they physically look on the page help us to understand that Macbeth has kind of lost all hope now that he's heard that his wife dies. Because remember, he loves her. Then a messenger enters. Macbeth says to him, "Thou comes to use thy tongue, thy story quickly," as in, tell me the news. And the messenger says, "Gracious my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it." Macbeth's like, "Well, say, sir." And the messenger says, "As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move." Burnham wood began to move, excuse me? I think what he's trying to get at here is the woods are moving, which is what the witches said needed to happen before he died. So, it's a little disturbing. And Macbeth's response is, "Liar and slave." The messenger says, "Let me endure your wrath, if it be not so. Within this 3 mile you may see it coming, I say, a moving grove." Macbeth's response is, "If thou speakst false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive, till famine cling me. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution, and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not, till Burnham wood do come to Dunsinane, and now a wood comes to Dunsinane. Arm, and out. If this which he vouches does appear, there is no flying hence nor tarrying here. I gain to be aweary of the sun, and wish the estate of the world were now undone. Ring the alarm bell, blow wind, come rack, at least we'll die with harness on our back." So he's like, the witches, they deceived me. Like, they told me the truth, but they told it to me in such a way that I didn't actually believe that that would ever happen. And then he says, arm and arm out. So he's not meaning literally arm and arm. He's meaning let's get our arms, our weapons. We're no longer going to sit in the castle and wait for them to attack us. We're going to go out, and we're going to go out fighting. Because if I'm going to die, might as well fight and not be hiding like a coward inside of my castle. So that's really the whole point of Scene 5, Act 5. Macbeth, he feels super confident, and within the span of minutes, his confidence plummets. Because 1, his wife has died, and he's really sad about it. Like, he's lost his wife, his friends, and 2, the woods have started to move. So just as remember, part of Malcolm and Macduff's advance is they decide to cut down branches from the tree and carry them in front of them so as to camouflage their advance upon the castle. They wanted to sneak up on them. So in Scotland, the green, misty Scotland, they're using this as camouflage so they can get closer and surprise Macbeth's castle. So now they're only 3 miles away, which is pretty close when it comes to war and fighting. And Macbeth's like, great, the woods are moving, my wife is dead, what do I do now? Might as well read and find out. See you next time on Read with Miss Kurre. Bye!